Meanwhile, in the Premier League, the big game this weekend is the Manchester derby. City are favourites to win it, draw 3-1. Manchester United outsiders at 130. Overall, you take a look at neither side have exactly started particularly well. Manchester City, of course, for that win at Wolves in the opening day, we thought, oh, hello. However, that defeat against Spurs and then against Brighton has seen questions already being asked of Pep Guardiola's side. For Manchester United, a mixed bag, but in fact, they go into this time 4 places ahead of their City rivals. For more, Nedum and Mark are here. Mark, I want to start really with basically saying you think this is going to be 0-0 and don't bother.
I'll definitely bother. It's a Manchester derby and anything can happen, but I just think these are two teams that are so desperate not to lose that I just think it's going to be one of those games where, like we saw in last season's derby at Old Trafford, which was a 0-0, I just think that they're going to be so set on not losing. So you look at the City team, obviously they've got Haaland, but apart from that, they've got issues at the back. They're going to have a goalkeeper in, I imagine, Donnarumma, who, you know, it's his first game in English football, but then United are struggling to score goals as well, so they're not going to be too focused on attack. I'd imagine that Amorim is going to try and keep it tight, so I don't see it being a free-flowing game, but you never know, a Manchester derby can surprise you, but the years when I went to these games where you were seeing a 4-3 or you were seeing 3-3, 2-1 with goals all over the place, the players aren't on the pitch. They haven't got that array of talent that they had, well, certainly City have had in recent years, but United many years ago. But this Manchester derby doesn't have the fireworks about it that it used to have.
I mean, yeah, and I get all that, Oggy, I get all that. But City have not been great at the start of the season. The result at Wolves was against a poor Wolves side. They got exposed against Tottenham. They got exposed in the second half against Brighton. But at the end of the day, they're a better side than Man United. They're terrible. I mean, City have their issues. Mm-hmm. And I don't necessarily think it's a goalkeeping one, but we're probably going to see a change. They definitely have a defensive issue. That's for sure. But as bad as they've started the season...
They've got a lot of injuries, like old City.
Yeah. But they're still a better side. You watch Man United, what have we seen from them? They took a late penalty, a stupid decision against Burley to get the points. They had a good 15 minutes at Fulham to start with, and that was it. And the rest of it has been absolutely as you would expect. At least Man City, at least they're capable of doing something a little special, a little different. I don't think they're going to be good enough to go all the way in the title race this year, if I'm being honest about it. I think defensively they're not going to be strong enough. But if you're at home and you've started the season as badly as they have, and it's only 3 games, but you have aspirations, and Guardiola has to have, after last year, aspirations of mixing it with Arsenal and Liverpool, and they've spent money, surely you have to be good enough and believe you're good enough to beat this Man United side, which is bad. I mean, really bad, and we've seen that early on. So, I think City are going to dominate this game. I think they're going to win the game. I think that we're going to see some flaws at the back from them because that's who they are. But I just can't see how they're not too good for this Man United side.
What do you think of Olgie's theory? This is all about 2 teams who are desperately don't want to lose, Nedum.
I wouldn't necessarily go that far. I think say that both managers, they'll be very keen to try and find a way to win, but ultimately it's going to come down to, say, the confidence of those players and sort of going out there and feeling the pressure of this Manchester derby. I think it's interesting the fact that, for last season, the 2 derby games, in the grand scheme of things, were just so poor and irrelevant in terms of what those games could have been. I think years ago you saw them playing for something on the line, whether it was City going for a league title or, say, before that, United being involved in that as well. But this game for City, I think from my perspective, it's not a must-win in terms of like a Premier League title. It's more of a must-win in terms of general energy towards the team and the football club, because they're entering it having already lost 2 games in a row. Losing a Manchester derby at home, you've lost 2 home games in a row, and you've lost to what is your biggest rival at home in a manner of a team who United are being written off by everyone saying how bad they are. But all of a sudden you could be 4 points behind United, and when was the last time we spoke about City being in that sort of position? So I think this game really does matter. I think for the fans who are going to be turning up there, they want to see a strong performance. They want to be able to see goals. They want to see a team that they can believe in again. Because if it carries on in the same manner that it has done for those last 2 games and they lose, all of a sudden it starts to feel like the middle third of last season again, which is something that should not be feeling at the start of a new season, say with new players in there and this new sense of hope that we thought was there.
Who's going to play in goal for United, Oggy?
I mean, that is the dilemma that Amorim's got. I think it'll be a Bayern deal because I think that he doesn't want to throw in the new kid Lamans in a Manchester derby and risk jeopardising his confidence. So I suspect he's going for the least worst option for him, and that's Bayern deal. But it's not a great option because we know he's had a terrible start to the season. But I just don't know how you can throw a kid in that has been told, we've been told constantly by United, he's not a number one, he's for the future. And his first game is a Manchester derby at the Etihad when United are desperate to avoid losing. I just think it's so much of a risk. So, but, you know, Ruben Amorim has made some strange decisions in the past, but I think he'll go with Bayern deal.
Regardless, you're shooting, aren't you,
Well, you can't, yeah. Well, a Bayern deal, it's like set pieces. I've got Haaland and all the centre-halves on him, and I'm in-swinging it under the crossbar for fun every time, where it's free kicks, in-swingers, corners. Hell, if Man City have got somebody that takes long throws, I'm throwing it in Rory Delap style as well. I'm just piling it into the box because he's absolutely hopeless at coming out and dealing with the aerial balls. He's shown that. You looked at that midfield again. We saw the Portugal game, for those that saw it midweek, against Hungary, where Bruno Fernandes played in a more advanced position with Vitinho and João Neves, the two PSG players behind. And I can't help but think, looking at Casemiro and Fernandes, if that is the midfield too, and we think it will be because the leopard never changes his spots as the United manager, then City have to dominate that area. They just have to. And if they do dominate that area, as I expect, then the supply line to the wider players in Erling Haaland is going to be plentiful. So I just don't see how United can dominate the middle of the park. Yeah, they've got Mbemo and some forward players that can maybe get in behind and hurt them, but you have to have possession of the football to do that. And that's been their big problem. Even at Fulham, after a good start, Fulham then dominated the match in the middle of the park. Zander Berger, Sasa Lukic, they started dominating the ball and United couldn't get on the ball. Casemiro was chasing it around. And if they can do that to United, I think they're going to have their way at the weekend.
Donnarumma in goal, Nedum?
I really don't know, to be honest. I really don't know. I think given the signing and the sort of money that's outlaying on him for salary and so on, yes, obviously he's going to be playing. But I think Pep, in some ways, surely want to show some level of faith in Trafford, even if just a little bit, for one more game at least, for Donnarumma to get thrown in again at Manchester derby. Yes, he's had big games and big moments before, but he's trying to learn to play in a new league with brand new players in probably their most important game of the season so far. So I wouldn't be surprised if he, say, misses out on this game and, say, plays Champions League in midweek. But, with Guardiola in charge, I mean, do you really know?
William?
Yeah?
Well, it's the opposite problem to United, isn't it? You just get your... I thought Trafford I thought he played really well at Brighton, made some great saves, but obviously the game against Tottenham at home, he looked nervous as hell with the ball at his feet, and he just made some bad decisions. But you brought in a guy, and I think he's quoted himself saying he's the best in the world. I'm not quite sure he is. I think Thibaut Courtois would have something to say about that. But he's certainly one of them. And he's very imposing, isn't he? So, I don't think there's any problems about chucking him in there. He's obviously the best goalkeeper you've got. He's the best chance you've got of getting victory if the defence caves in, because he's a good shot stopper. And he doesn't have to dilly-dally with the ball at his feet. If he's nervous about it, just lumps it up the field. So, yeah, I think Donnarumma starts, and that might just give the back four a little bit more confidence with such an experienced goalkeeper behind them.